upstairs in a farmhouse. Our last video, we finished the attic, and it took us about 6 months to insulate and pull up flooring and clean between the ceiling joists or the floor joists up there, but it is done. And so the next room we're gonna work on is the upstairs bathroom. And because of a leak and just old plumbing, that is gonna involve tearing into some of the downstairs wall in our dining room. So before we get into that, we wanted to do a tour of our house, because this will essentially be the last time that it is in the condition that it's in now. It's the way it is now, because from here on out, it's always going to be in, hopefully not a state of disrepair, but it's always going to be in a state of being worked on, even if it takes us a number of years. So we wanted to do a tour of the house and to kind of tell us some of the history of it before we started tearing into walls and getting
and it's going to take a while. So not only are we on a limited budget, but we live here, and as probably many of you know, trying to remodel a house that you're living in, there's some challenges that go along with that. So we're just gonna kind of do a room at a time and
pray our way through it.
Yeah, piece it together and pay for it as we can, and kind of go at, hopefully not a snail's pace, but we're going to be doing all the work ourselves. So it's going to take us a little while, but that'll provide us with a lot of content, which will be good.
And originally, when we were deciding and figuring out a strategy for redoing rooms, we were going to start with one of the upstairs bedrooms. But because of this leak and some minor ceiling damage, we just decided to go ahead and start with the bathroom, because we want to have a functioning shower upstairs. Right now, the shower, it works, but it is slow to drain, so we don't use it. And so that's why we're starting with the bathroom instead of one of the bedrooms. So
yeah. So I got to tear down the ceiling downstairs to expose the plumbing that is in the bathroom upstairs. And then we can start gutting the bathroom and going through that whole process. But so anyway, let's begin the tour.
So we've mentioned before that this house was built in the late 1800s. We don't know exactly the year. Rob thinks maybe the late 1880s. Everything I have come across online seems to point to the late 1890s, like 1895, but I don't have any definite information on exactly what year the house was built. However, it is a Queen Anne Victorian, and it's a very simple Queen Anne Victorian. It's got very steep, sloped, gabled roof. We have a big, round, conical shaped room on the top floor, the first and second level, and there throughout the house you'll see we've got big thick wood trim, and that is also characteristic of Victorian architecture. So this is throughout the house. The doors are 5-panel doors. I'm sorry, they're 6-panel doors. Trying to look at the door.
Sorry.
The doors are 6-panel doors, and that's another characteristic of Victorian homes. So that's what we're looking for. And that's one of the things I've loved about this house since Rob and I met and he brought me here, is the trim. The woodworker on this house is unbelievable, especially on the stairs. Now the wallpaper, not so much.
Well, that's not original wallpaper.
It's not original. It's coming down. No, that's straight like 90s-tastic. Woo! So this is our spare bedroom. We call it the dressing room. So in this room, you can see in the corner, this chimney, this is from the original coal boiler down in the cellar. And the chimney comes up through the kitchen, and then it came up through this bedroom and out the roof. And that is kind of taking up some space. And while I think it would be totally awesome to expose the original brick and have like a cool brick chimney in here,
I mean, the brick's kind of exposed. However, someone through the years put about 18,000 layers of paint on it, and that's going to be pretty hard to get off. So, I don't know. I don't know what all.
We're not there yet.
Yeah. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So
we're not there yet. But again, you can see.
Gonna have to have some new windows.
Yeah, gonna need new windows. But the windows are very cool. We have 6-foot windows on all sides but the south side.
Yeah.
So these are typical normal size windows. And then the closets in an old house, which there's a lot of junk here I'm not showing you, but the closets in an old house are typically small and short. So we don't have big closets in here. That's you don't have big closets in old houses. But we do have closets.
I'm assuming a lot of people didn't have a lot of clothes to put in them.
Well, and I feel lucky that we even have closets because a lot of old houses like this don't have any in the rooms. Here's bedroom 2.
This is the girls' bedroom.
This is where the girls sleep. Again, you can see the woodwork on the windows. They, again, will need replaced. The little closet right here. And this is one of the bigger closets, and this is why this is considered the master bedroom, because this closet extends the length of this wall all the way. So it's pretty deep, even though it's hard to get into.
So the last bedroom is the bedroom I had when I was growing up. And this is why I still wanted to be in this bedroom, because it's my room.
It's his room. So this is the master. On the front of our house, the round room. You can see in the walls right here how the shape of the room is. So it's kind of an odd shaped room. I love this little cute window here, even though Rob says it's gonna go bye-bye when we redo this room. It's just such a cute little, it gives the room character. So things like this are what make Victorian houses really neat, I think. So again, tiny little closet. But very cool woodwork. And you can see from in here, we got some wall issues going on. There are some issues from a roof leak, so these things have to be repaired. I mean, even if we didn't do anything to the house, we would have to repair things like that.
And we will.
And then in an old Victorian house too, you do things like this to keep the doors shut at night.
Yeah, because the doors are very susceptible to shrinking and swelling with humidity change in the air.
Not to mention the floors probably aren't very level. These are original doors, which are cool. Just all these little features of these old houses are neat. I don't know if you can see that. Just the cool little metal work on the
Yeah, it's pretty dark in here. That's the other thing we're gonna do, is put in some more lights.
We've got the bathroom. This is, again, where we're gonna start our work. So super outdated and just everything needs redone. This room will be gutted, add insulation, redo the drywall, redo the ceiling, everything, windows, all that. And then you can see the trim around the windows was painted white at some point, so I'd like to strip that and stain it to match the rest of the trim. The back of the door is the same, so I'd like to take this door off and strip the paint off of it and off the trim in here and make it all wood to match.
Hi. And we're gonna do tile. We're gonna do tile on the floor, tile around the shower surround.
Yeah, it needs some love. It just needs to be freshened up and updated. So, and we're not gonna go crazy. We're keeping it pretty simple. So, kind of in line with what they would have put down back then. So, another cool feature of this house is up here. We call this the nook. It's sort of like a little landing area. It's been used as a lot of things. When we moved in here, we cleared it completely out and then had a little seating area with a table and a lamp. And Rob has dreams of putting like some big, huge, comfy chairs up here and then getting like a 90-inch flat screen and putting it right there so he can sit here and watch TV.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the landing, or the nook as we call it. That's the door to the attic that we were working in. So another thing I love about these old houses is the attics have actual staircases and doors, which are pretty cool.
Fresh air.
Looks outside. See all the country.
There's a lot of nature in the country.
Yeah. I haven't mentioned anything about this, and I'm not going to open it, but about a couple months ago in the middle of the night, we had a bat in our bedroom, and it came in, we think, through the ceiling of this is a little closet, and the ceiling has water damage, again, from a roof leak, the same leak that left the damage in our bedroom ceiling, and the ceiling in this closet's completely caved in, and so by we, I mean Rob thinks that that's where the bat got in. I don't know, maybe I'll insert that video right here in the middle of this one. Pretty comical.
hiding too. Last time I did this, I caught one in a fishing net and he got all tangled up and he couldn't get out. This one, like, crawled right out. He went somewhere. It's like hiding. Again, no big deal if they didn't have rabies. I mean, I got no choice but to go in there. Are you videoing me?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of crap. He's hidden somewhere. I'm gonna go in there and poke around. He's gonna jump out. I'm gonna have a heart attack. Call 911. Heart attack and bitten by a bat. Alright, I think he's dead in the tub. Or dying in the tub. I must have hurt him.
You're not gonna leave him there, are you?
No.
There's in that, on top of that closet, there are plastic grocery bags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just put him in a bag. Put him in a
I
plastic
don't know what
grocery
else
bag.
you're gonna do with them.
I'm gonna go get a pair of leather gloves.
Is that closet door shut right there?
Now that your window's open, another one will
Oh
fly
my
in.
gosh.
But that's where the bat got in, and
Good
so,
time.
yeah.
Anything she can do to laugh at me.
But this closet, we don't use it, and we are kind of contemplating what to do with it, and maybe knock it out and just not even have it. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge, I guess, when we get to it.
I'd like to put a little 2-person sauna in here. Sauna, chair, 90-inch. See you on Monday.
So that's the upstairs. We're gonna go downstairs now. And I've been talking about characteristics of Victorian houses, and awesome staircases are one of those. And you can see just all the awesome woodwork. This staircase is so pretty. And it's not complicated. It's not very ornate and fancy as some Victorian houses can get and can be, but it's just pretty. And then we have this really cool little closet there on the landing, which
It's minus some trim boards that probably once lived there.
they're in there. Or no, they're down here, remember?
She thinks there was a window right here.
There used to be a window right here.
Used to be a window on this wall.
Yes. But your mom, she said it leaked all the time, so they just covered it up.
Yeah, it wasn't there when I was growing up, so I don't know.
So going downstairs, we enter, and this is where I think the history of the house is pretty cool. So Victorian houses would not have been open concept, and so you would have had closed off spaces, and this is what essentially is, it's called a vestibule. And so what you're looking at right now is the original front door to the house. Now, when you entered the front door originally, you would have been in this enclosed space here, and it's cut off from the rest of the house, so it's a formal entryway, and it also provided some protection from the elements. So that's, if you look inside this, you'll see this door right here, which entered into, and enters still, into the living room. This door right here then would have entered into the living space of the home, the kitchen and the dining room. So two different ways. It's closed off because it was easier to heat, and you could heat the room that you were in as opposed to heating an entire house because they did not have furnace systems like we do now, obviously. So as far as the house goes, this again was the original front door, and it opens onto what is now an enclosed and essentially a 3-season room, which is our playroom and our schoolroom, and it's a disaster because, well, we live in here. But it's an enclosed room now, but at one time this would have been the porch, a covered porch with a railing all along the sides. So this window looking into the living room would have been looking outside. So you would have seen this window from the outside, as opposed to now when you look at the front of our house on the round room on front, you just see the 2 of the 3 windows. So, but this window is still here. And so you would have walked here up to the front door and entered into, again, this little enclosed foyer slash vestibule area. So again, closets are small. This is a very smoky closet. It's stuffed full. And this little foyer is also kind of storage for us, which is why it's a mess. And this comes into our dining room. And then to the right is our kitchen. And we have a door in the garage that I'm going to, I think, transform into a headboard for our master bed. This doorway right here had a door here. The kind of door that you can push open from either direction and it kind of...
Saloon door?
Yeah, sort of. It's not a saloon door, but I don't know. Anyway, the kitchen would have had a doorway right there.
I can't remember what the hinges are called, but the hinges, you can push it this way or this way.
And then it kind of like returns to the same...
Springs back.
Yeah, it springs back. So this opening
and this was a wall.
That was a wall, right. So the kitchen was completely enclosed, again, because you couldn't heat the entire house. You could only heat one room at a time. That was more efficient. So walking through that doorway, you would have entered the kitchen. And this is what it looks like now. But this wall right here is where Rob's mom said the stove and the refrigerator used to sit. So along this wall, and then you had your sink, and then I'm not sure exactly what the layout of the rest of the kitchen was. There's the cellar door right there to the left of the stove. But that's how the kitchen is laid out right now. So off of the kitchen, you walk through it and you enter into a laundry room, and this was an add-on. This was not original to the house, along with that bathroom right there. So this is, eventually this room is gonna have to be completely torn off because if you've watched any of our cellar videos, the foundation wall is failing, and so this room slants and slopes, and if we want it to be kind of level and stable, we're gonna have to fix that foundation. So, but growing up, this bathroom wasn't down here. This bathroom.
Well, it was down there, it just wasn't finished.
It wasn't finished, but it wasn't usable. And so there was one bathroom in the house, and then when Rob was a kid, at some point, they finished that bathroom and then had 2 full bathrooms. This restroom down here has a working shower, and then obviously the toilet and the sink. So
we had to go to the bathroom upstairs all the time. That was the only bathroom in the house. And when I was a little kid, I'd just go to the bathroom outside. I'd never go upstairs. Unless I really had to go.
So, you gonna add something else?
No.
Okay. So walking back through the kitchen, again, this would have been that little flippy floppy door. This is the dining room. Another characteristic of Victorian houses, they have tall ceilings. So 9-foot ceilings with the woodwork. And when Rob's mom remodeled the house 25-ish years ago, they redid the woodwork and kind of restored it. I don't know if it was painted or what, but this is a really cool chandelier that I totally thought was an antique original to the house, only to find out Rob bought it at Lowe's in like 1998.
They got nice stuff.
Dining room. The dining room is separated from the living room. And this big wide doorway at one time would have had pocket doors. So you can see the 3 windows in the conical room on the front of the house. But the living room would have been heated separately by the fireplace. And aside from the staircase, this fireplace is my second favorite feature of this house. Step back from this direction, you can see how it opens up into the dining room. And then there is the doorway that you could access the living room off of the entryway, or the vestibule, which I just like to say that word. So we have these bay windows. This is another defining characteristic of Victorian houses. And you had built-in storage as well. So underneath all of my daughter's dolls, there is a shoe storage cabinet, and it's where we put, I won't say all of our shoes because some are right there. But that's where we store shoes.
And we call it the shoe store.
We call it the shoe store. And then we've got above each door on the south side of the house these transom windows that have been, this one's been boarded over. There's a transom above the doorway into the laundry room, and you would have opened those to let air flow through the house.
We've already started to pull some cabinets out from downstairs so I can get into the plumbing like we talked about. And the laundry room and bathroom that are on the first floor is this bottom area right here that was added on. So at the very top up there, where that vent is, you've seen, I think you saw in our first attic video, there's a window up there. And in some of our earlier videos, the opening picture of the house, you'll see it, has that window in it, and then the porch where people entered back then. We had this deck built 20 years ago. My grandma came and lived with my mom, and in order for her to get up and down and into the house better, my mom had this ramp built and this deck built, which unfortunately when we redo this room is probably gonna have to go away and then get redone. So
there you have it. There's a tour of the house before we start doing what we're gonna do and start chipping away at these little projects.
So again, this might take us some time. We're on a budget and we're gonna be chipping away at it the best we can and just work on it when we can and as time will allow and what we can afford to do. And we're excited to get started on it. I'm sort of excited to get started on it. It's gonna be a lot of work, but frankly, I can't think of a better investment than putting our time and energy and money into the house we intend to live in for the next, I don't know, rest of our life. This is home to me. My grandparents bought this in 1946 when my grandpa got home from the war, and it's home. So
we look forward to it. Who's excited? Thanks for watching.
Thanks.